Today on The Young and the Restless, Kyle puts his parents on notice. Sharon and Heather visit the ranch, and Adam gets a surprise visitor. At the Abbott mansion, Jack and Diane try to convince a defiant Kyle that he needs to deal with what's gone on between him and Summer. That kind of love doesn't just disappear. Jack warns against burying his feelings or they'll erupt or eat him alive. Kyle rants that Jack forced him out of his job to protect Summer, and now he's worried about his emotional state. Jack defends himself and Diane tells Kyle they have his best interests at heart. Kyle assures them he's having a blast, just like old Smilin' Jack in his heyday. He says he has a job and broke things off with Audra Charles, so what exactly is the problem? Diane wonders if it was his idea to break things off. Kyle snarks that this has nothing to do with Summer and he and Audra will still work together. Jack questions him being willing to take a lesser position at Newman, but not Jabut. Kyle reminds his father that Billy is his second in command. "We both know you can't trust him, Dad." He complains again about Jack throwing him out of Marchetti and insists he's right where he wants to be. This was the greatest thing that ever happened to him. Jack squints in puzzlement. Nick arrives at Crimson Lights to find Heather advising Sharon. Michael is still in Singapore. Heather learns that Nick is in support of extracting Kirsten from Newman Enterprises. Heather heads to the patio and Sharon tells Nick she's prepared for a fight. She advises that Adam's in a bad way. Nick sighs that this is what Adam does. He wants you to feel sorry for him. Don't buy into it. Nick tells Sharon that Adam brought this on himself. Sharon says Adam wants to accept responsibility now for what happened. He asked her to bridge the gap between him and the family. If she can convince Nick that he's sincere, he'll at least stay in the room long enough to hear them out. She feels what Victor did to him was pretty brutal. Nick argues all Adam cared about was getting what he wanted and getting revenge on Victoria. He tells her that Adam would have dismantled Kirsten just like Victor. He doesn't buy him wanting a second chance and she shouldn't either. You need to be careful. Nick goes on about the way Adam treated Sharon during their so-called partnership. She really thought it could work. Nick urges her to focus on getting Kirsten back and living her dream. He's proud of her and is a time filled with endless possibilities for her and Sally. Sharon learns that Nick is bankrolling her new venture, but he'll be hands off. Sharon asks if he's going back to Newman. Nick's still figuring things out. Sally walks into society, spots Adam, and asks how he's doing. She knows what happened and is sorry. Adam says he pushed too hard for something he wanted and went to extremes. Sally scoffs that Victor's done the same thing. Adam laments that he blew what could have been a great partnership with Sharon and Nick. He can't believe this is what it's taken for him to see how he is and how he's been living. This is finally the wake-up call that I needed. The first part of the wake-up call was losing their daughter after losing her. Adam tells Sally this isn't about him still being in love with her. He's not looking for anything from her. Losing their daughter changed him, however, it changed everything. Sally sighs, I know. Adam recaps that his life took another abrupt turn when his father cut him out of the business and family. He thinks that life is pushing him in a new direction. He doesn't know what it is yet. Sally's worried that Adam has nothing left to lose, which is a dangerous place to be in. Adam chuckles that he's been living in a dangerous place the whole time. They commiserate over being billed as screwed up. Sally reminds him that he has a son. Adam worries he's messed him up too. He is proud that Connor took steps to get out of the darkness. His son has become a role model for him. He's going to take steps and change course by making amends to his family and starting over. Nick walks up to the table and tells Adam to stop trying to enlist Sharon to fight his battles, or anyone else for that matter. Sally jumps up from the table. Adam tells Nick it was a mistake. Old habits die hard. Nick asks what his goal is and wonders, do you even know? At the Abbott mansion, Kyle goes on about how overjoyed he is to be free to do anything he wants. Jack warns that he has a son who depends on him. Irked, Kyle asks what he's ever done to make them think that he would neglect Harrison. Diane fumes, you're not that cold and emotionally detached. Jack isn't buying it either. Kyle doesn't need their approval, and if they're going to keep harping, he and Harrison will find another place to live. Jack and Diane assure Kyle they're not trying to dictate his life. Diane's trying to protect him from making bad choices as she did. Jack urges Kyle not to emulate his behavior, otherwise superficial relationships is all he can hope for. Kyle understands that they're concerned, but he's where he wants to be, figuring out his life and what he wants it to look like from now on. He needs to do that without interference from his parents. At the ranch, Victor drinks and thinks back on difficult times with Adam. The phone rings and Victor says, "Send them in." Sharon and Heather walk into the room and Victor invites them to have a seat. Sharon and Heather make the case for him to operate in good faith and give her the chance to build her company to realize her vision. She feels that Kirsten is sound. Victor says, "I agree with you. I think you should." He clarifies that Sharon should retain control of Kirsten Incorporated. After what Cameron put her and her family through, he will release it back to her free and clear. Heather wants to see it in writing. Victor agrees. Heather leaves to put together the paperwork. Sharon thanks Victor and tells him she's sorry things didn't work out with Adam. Victor wishes none of it had happened. "All I've ever wanted for Adam is to become what he is capable of. I've given him many opportunities and many chances, it's never enough." Sharon says it's not something Victor or anyone else can do for him. Victor wonders if she thinks some psychological wounds are so deep, the person will never get over them. At society, Adam acknowledges that he turned on his partners. He told himself the blackmail was a smart move. Revenge has informed his choices for as long as she can remember. Before he can tell him what he really wants, he needs a reset. "I want to be a part of this family. I want to be someone that you can accept and respect." Nick tells Adam he'll have to figure this out on his own. Adam thanks Nick for hearing him out. Nick snarks, "Thanks, Sally." Adam walks out. Nick tells Sally he doesn't even know what to make of that. At the Abbott mansion, Jack asks Kyle to sit down with them. Kyle informs them that they have made their concerns abundantly clear, and he has made all the assurances he's going to. Diane tells him they don't want him and Harrison to move out. Jack updates him on Ashley coming around where Diane is concerned, but now Billy's an issue. Kyle thinks Billy is probably already making moves to undermine him. Jack is hoping he'll back off. Kyle doesn't like this and advises his father to fire Billy. "Then I might consider stepping back into my old role, because you know you can trust me." At society, Sally knows Nick has reasons to be skeptical. Only time will tell if Adam is sincere. She asks if he'll take his father's offer. Nick complains he have to work with Nate, whom he does not trust, every single day. Victor is not going to oversee the company forever, and he looks to him to fill a certain role. He laments that he wanted things to work out with Adam so badly, but he broke his heart again. Sally asks if he'd be taking the job out of obligation. At the ranch, Sharon tells Victor she can't take her personal feelings out of this. She's too close to Adam. He's been through a lot of pain and much of it has to do with Victor. Victor knows this, and they've talked about it, but he can't seem to let it go. Sharon still hopes he can bring out the best in himself if he wants to. Maybe this will turn out to be a good thing, an opportunity. He may need to know if Victor would give him another chance. Victor sighs. He's given that boy so many chances that frankly, he's tired. Sharon thinks maybe this time is different because Adam has lost so much at once. It's making him look at himself and his place in the family, and who he wants to be. Victor thanks Sharon for caring. She thanks him for allowing her to keep Kirsten. He tells her to go and do great things with it. She says she intends to. At the Abbott house, Jack agonizes to Diane about firing Billy now being on the table. He'd love to have Kyle come back, but if he fires his brother, he will almost certainly lose him the same way he almost lost Ashley. Diane wants Kyle back at Jubboed. "I feel like our son is slipping away." Jack nods. At society, Nick tells Sally he'd be taking the job to protect what Victor built. Sally thinks Victoria has that covered. Sharon walks in and tells Nick that his dad gave her back Kirsten free and clear. He thinks that's fantastic. She asks if he's decided about Newman. Nick's torn. Sharon informs him there's another option, "Come work with me." She is completely serious and tells him, "We'll do it right this time." Adam arrives at home and pours a drink. He flashes to telling Nick he wants to be part of the family and someone he can accept and respect. Shaking his head, he scoffs, as if that would ever happen. A knock comes at the door and Adam opens it to see Victor.